In the shadows of America's forgotten alleys and overlooked lives, one man lurked for decades, claiming more victims than any serial killer in US history. He wasn't a monster from the headlines like Ted Bundy or Jeffrey Dahmer. No, Samuel Little was a drifter, a charmer, a boxer turned predator who strangled the life out of 93 women, preying on those society had already pushed to the edges. But how did he evade justice for so long? How did his trail of bodies stretch across 19 states without anyone connecting the dots? Welcome to Shadows of Justice, where we pull back the veil on the darkest crimes and the investigators who refuse to let them fade into obscurity. If you love deep dives into real cases, unsolved mysteries, and the people who fight for justice, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. It really helps us keep bringing you stories like this, and you will never miss an episode. Today, we dive into the chilling saga of Samuel Little, the man the FBI calls the most prolific serial killer America has ever known. Buckle up, this story will haunt you. Our story begins in the sweltering summer of Reynolds, Georgia, on June 7, 1940. Samuel McDowell came into the world under circumstances as chaotic as his future would be dark. His mother, Bessie May Little, was a teenage prostitute. His father, Paul McDowell, just 19, absent. Samuel later claimed he was born in jail, abandoned immediately, and raised by his grandmother in Lorain, Ohio. A grim industrial town on Lake Erie, Lorain offered the rhythmic thrum of steel mills and a backdrop of racial segregation. Money was scarce, life was unforgiving, and young Samuel's education offered no refuge. School was not sanctuary, it was a place where early obsessions began to fester. By age 5, Little later admitted he was fixated on necks. A kindergarten teacher's neck, the curve of her throat, had ignited a fascination that would later define his killing method. By his teenage years, he collected true crime magazines detailing strangulation, consuming them with an intensity that went beyond mere curiosity. 13, his criminal behavior began, petty theft escalating to burglary and more serious offenses. In 1953, he was sent to a reform school for stealing a bicycle. 2 years later, a burglary in Omaha, Nebraska added another brush with the law. At 16, a break-in in Lorain earned him 2 years in juvenile detention. Early brushes with punishment did nothing to curb the darkness growing inside him. Released in the late 1950s, Samuel drifted through life like a storm cloud, angry and restless. He tried boxing, finding brief discipline in the ring, but the fight could not contain his rage. By 21, in 1961, he was imprisoned again for burglary, this time for 3 years. Paroled in 1964, he bounced between odd jobs, ambulance attendant, cemetery worker, yet crime remained constant. By the late 1960s, he relocated to Florida to live with his mother, now scraping by. Arrests accumulated: theft, assault, DUI. By 1975, 26 arrests across 11 states painted the portrait of a man both restless and elusive, always slipping through the cracks of an inconsistent justice system. The first known murder came on New Year's Eve, 1970, in Homestead, Florida, near Miami. 33-year-old Mary Jo Brosley, a white woman from Massachusetts down on her luck, encountered Samuel at a bar. She climbed into his car for a drink, and her life ended before the night was over. Little later described the act with chilling detachment, a childhood fascination fulfilled, a desire for control executed with precision. He strangled her and left her body in a shallow grave in the Everglades. Weeks later, her death was ruled undetermined, possibly an overdose. Samuel walked free, emboldened, invisible. The early 1970s marked the beginning of a relentless killing spree. In 1971, still in Miami, he claimed a 22-year-old he referred to as Linda and an 18-year-old Marianne, lured with promises of drugs. That same year, he connected with Aurelia Jean Dorsey, a 59-year-old woman who would become his companion and accomplice. Jean supported him during petty crimes and arrests, sticking by him until her death in 1988. With Jean's complicity or tolerance, Little's murders accelerated. He traveled north to Prince George's County, Maryland in 1972, strangling a woman in her 20s, likely from Massachusetts. In 1973, Sarah Brown, 39, died in New Orleans. Later that November, Agatha White Buffalo, 34, was murdered in Omaha. His crime spread. Martha Cunningham, 34, in Knox County, Tennessee, on New Year's Eve 1974. Leola Etta Bryant, 51, Charleston, South Carolina. Her remains identified only in 2024. Kat, 22, in Savannah. Leanne Helms, 21, Houston, 1977. Samuel's methodology was consistent and chilling. He selected vulnerable women, sex workers, addicts, homeless women, lured them with charm, alcohol, or drugs. He struck with a punch to stun, then strangled for sexual gratification. Some victims were revived briefly before being killed again. Bodies were hidden in woods, alleys, dump sites. Deaths were misclassified, autopsies often superficial or non-existent. Society and law enforcement overlooked the marginalized, and that oversight allowed Samuel to evade capture for years. By the late 1970s, close calls occurred, but justice remained elusive. In Cleveland, an unnamed black woman was murdered, found in Willoughby Hills in 1983, still unidentified by 2025, though genetic genealogy is closing the gap. Yvonne Pless, 20, Macon, Georgia, September 1977, identified in 2023. Clara Birdlong, 44, Pascagoula, Mississippi, December 1977, ID 2021. Julia Critchfield, 36, dumped off a cliff in Harrison County, Mississippi, January 1978. Evelyn Weston, 19, near Fort Jackson, South Carolina, September 1978. Brenda Alexander, 23, Phoenix City, Alabama, August 1979. In 1982, Samuel nearly faced accountability. Arrested in Pascagoula for Melinda Rose Lapre, 22, missing since September, a grand jury declined to indict. Extradited to Florida for Patricia Ann Mount, 26, whose body was found that same month, he was acquitted in January 1984. Jurors doubted witnesses. Once free, he resumed. Dorothy Richard, 56, Houma, Louisiana. Rosie Hill, 20, Marion County, Florida. Fredonia Smith, 18, Macon, all 1982. October 1984, San Diego, Lori Barros, 22, kidnapped, beaten, strangled, survived. Another woman found unconscious the next month, convicted of assault. He served 2.5 years, released February 1987, and moved to Los Angeles. The late 1980s in LA were grim. Carol Linda Alford, 41, July 1987, Alleyway. Audrey Nelson Everett, 35, August 1989, Dumpster. Guadalupe Apodaca, 46, September 1989, Auto Shop. Survivors would later testify. In between, Mary Jo Payton, 21, Cleveland, 1984, Abandoned Factory. Augie Gortz, 23, Savannah, Unnamed Teen. San Bernardino, Linda Bennett, 38, Owenton, Kentucky, 1988. Into the 1990s, murders continued. Annie Lee Stewart, 33, Cincinnati, October 1991. Linda Sue Boards, 23, near U.S. Route 68, Kentucky, May 1981. Patricia Parker, 25 to 30, Dade County, Georgia. Alice Denise Duval, 40, L.A., June 1991. Rose Evans, 32, Cleveland, August 1991. Roberta Tanderich, 34, Akron. Alice Denise Taylor, 27, and Tracy Lynn Johnson, 19, Gulfport, Mississippi, December 1992. Ruth, 24, North Little Rock, Arkansas, 1992 to 1993. Ruby Dean Lane, 19, Perry, Florida, May 1993. Unnamed 40-year-old, Las Vegas. Jolanda Jones, 26, Pine Bluff, Arkansas, 1994. Denise Christie Brothers, 32, Odessa, Texas, February 2nd, 1994. Melissa Thomas, 29, Opelousas, Louisiana, January 1996. Daisy McGuire, 40, Houma, February 1996. Priscilla Baxter Jones, 36, West Memphis, Arkansas, 1997. Zena Marie Jones, 30, Memphis Pickup, Body in Arkansas, 1990, ID'd 2022. Last confessed victim, Nancy Carol Stevens, 46, Tupelo, Mississippi, August 2005. Justice moved slowly, but in 2012, the trap closed. Samuel was arrested at a Louisville, Kentucky homeless shelter on a narcotics warrant. Extradited to California, DNA linked him to the 1987 to 1989 LA murders, Alford, Everett, Apodaca. Convicted September 25, 2014, 3 life sentences without parole. Yet the full scope remained hidden. In 2018, Texas Ranger James Holland began hundreds of hours of interviews. Samuel confessed 93 killings, sketched 26 victims, providing hauntingly precise details, clothing, hairstyles, facial features, and last words. The FBI verified dozens. Families finally learned the truth. Yvonne Pless 2023, Leola Bryan 2024, ongoing work for Willoughby Hills, Jane Doe. Samuel Little died December 30th, 2020 at 80 from diabetes and heart issues. Over 60 victims verified, 93 confessed. His story is a chilling testament to systemic failures, societal neglect, and the darkness that can exist in plain sight. But through investigation, forensic advances, and persistence, justice finally reached the shadows. This story is more than a tale of one man's depravity. It is about lives lost, names forgotten, and lessons learned. On Shadows of Justice, we honor victims, uncover truth, and remind viewers, even in darkness, justice can emerge. Subscribe, hit the bell, and join us as we continue to uncover the hidden horrors of human cruelty. Justice may be slow, but in the shadows it waits.